So, Naomi Campbell has managed to find a way to choose this month in particular to give her views about something that has literally been on the books for a very long time. Now, the scary part about this is that, yes, this is a black woman who is saying what I'm about to tell you, but it's something that has been on a universal scale been pushed by the palm colored community for a very long time. And that is, why even have a Black History Month at all when there's no such thing as a White History Month? Now, if you've been following my Sundown series, there is one county in Arkansas in particular that has declared a Confederate month for not one but 2 months out of the year, one of them being in July and another one being in April, that just got declared, might I add, last year. And we know who they're talking about when they talk about Confederate. That's mainly palm-colored people. As a matter of fact, it's all of them who follow that ideology and that narrative. Well, Naomi Campbell has come out of the side of her neck, the hole in her mouth, the one between her legs, well, both of them between her legs, and the one that is in her ass crack, and said that Black History Month should not just be for black people only. She says that Black History Month should include all people of color. So you're talking about black people, Hispanic people, Arabs, Native Americans, Asians, Mexicans, basically anything that will fall under the classification of non-white. Is this gecko necked skank serious right now? She wants to incorporate everyone else into a month. Mind you, Black History Month, which used to be called Black History Week, or was it Negro Week? I can't remember what the proper title was at one time. The shortest month of the year, whether it's a regular standard 28-day month calendar or a 29-day month calendar, which it is this year because it's a leap year, says that that all other people of color should be incorporated into this month, and it should not just be designated for black people. That is her inner palm colored coming out of her. Now, let's not forget that Black History Month really was designated to acknowledge the accomplishments and achievements of black Americans. Need I remind you, Naomi Campbell is from, I want to say, the UK. I think she's from the UK because she has that British accent. And she's saying this. That right there is a major red flag. That you have a woman who is black and was held up by the black community at large in her prime as a model, come out there and say that Black History Month should not just be for black people only, and it should be for all people of color. Mind you, that people of color is a terminology that was created to further keep black people at the bottom as far as culture, accomplishments, and everything else goes, and to prop everybody else. Basically, it's like we're the foundation and we're upholding everyone else up. I've said before, we are tired of being the mule and carrying the water and the weight for quote unquote POC. Let them hold their own nuts, their own cojones grandes, their wontons, and whatever else they can hold. Let them hold all of that. They've made it clear they don't need us, and we don't need them. So for her to come out and say that is very disrespectful. Especially, like I said, she's been held up by black people on a large scale for so long as a black model, especially for her to be a Victoria's Secret model that literally only was looking at one point at white women who fit a certain shape. And when she broke that barrier all those years ago, black people were very excited about that, especially, little girls who wanted to be a runway model. But then again, when you look at Naomi Campbell's history, this woman has a violent streak to her. Let's not forget that when she was the Victoria's Secret model, she was the only black one there. But then what happened a few years later? Another black model came onto the scene. Y'all may have heard of her. Her name was Tyra Banks. And it's no secret that Naomi Campbell had an issue with Tyra Banks the minute she came onto that runway, the minute she burst onto the scene. Here comes this new, young, fresh face, this young teenager who was getting all of these gigs and bookings and everything like that. And Naomi Campbell got jealous because she felt she was taking her spot. That was no surprise. She hated her. I don't care what people say. Naomi Campbell has always had an issue with Tyra Banks. And mind you, Tyra Banks is a black American woman. So what does that tell you? She was basically, how dare this little whoever from wherever, because I don't know where Tyra Banks is from, come over and try to take my spot from me. Let's not also forget that Naomi Campbell has been known to also get into a lot of physical altercations with other women. One of them notoriously being her maid. Do y'all remember a few years ago when she got into a physical altercation with her maid? They said she messed her maid up so much, they thought the maid got into a fight with a house cat. They said that she had scratches all over her face. And the thing is, a lot of people try to make excuses for Naomi Campbell's behavior, but it's inexcusable. This woman is very toxic, but people don't call her out on it because she's a world-renowned supermodel. I remember the first time I seen Naomi Campbell pop up in anything was in an episode of The Cosby Show way back in the 80s. That's back before she really blew up. She was, at the time, I think she was still a teenager. So, and she still looked natural. Like when you look at Naomi Campbell here, you can tell that she's probably had some work done. Like, look at that jawline. If you look at a picture of, you know what, let me pause this right quick and see if I can find a picture of her from back then. Okay, I found one right here. Here's a picture of Naomi Campbell when she was a teenager, and she looked like she was probably in her early teens at that. Look at how much natural she looked then compared to the picture I posted of her up until this point. Looks like two different people, but you can still tell that it's her. But I can definitely tell she's had some work done. But like I said, when Tyra Banks burst onto the scene, that's when her jealousy really kicked in and people really started to see her for what she was. She started to get jealous because Tyra Banks I think Tyra became more marketable than she did. It's like Tyra came out at the right time. And see, Naomi Campbell has a few years on her. Like when Tyra came out, she was like 17, I believe. And Naomi Campbell was probably in her mid 20s, probably close to 30. So she was starting to do what they say in the industry. She was starting to age. And Tyra was the new thing. But like I said, here you have a woman who's from London, who was a black woman who accomplished something. But the fact that another black woman who was American born came into her realm, she saw her as competition instead of working with her. Two black women can share this stage. She couldn't handle that. So she started having beefs with Tyra Banks. And like I said, that was no surprise that happened. And it was no secret either, which further proves that whole sisterhood that a lot of people claim that they have, and I'm not talking about her and Tyra Banks, but I'm talking about as a collective exists. And I've always heard, and it's true, when I was in high school, I went to high school with a lot of black people. A lot of the black girls said they don't like hanging out with other girls because they carry a lot of drama. They have a lot of baggage. That's why many of them find that they hang out with a lot of guys, not in a way that makes her look promiscuous, but because a lot of guys, for the most part, don't carry all that drama and baggage with them like other girls do, like the girls do. And when you think about it, that's very true. And now when you break it down to Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell, especially with Naomi Campbell, it holds true. It holds a lot of weight. Now, I didn't mean to go into a whole nother tangent about it, but I was just trying to prove a point. But I'm going to end it off with this. Naomi Campbell, stay in your lane. Your lane is being a model. Don't come on here and try to change something that's been on the books for so long, especially since it's been fought to be put on to be documented for so long. Like I said, you have palm color people who want to get rid of the month because they're sad and upset that there's not a quote unquote White History Month, but they don't come at the Hispanics when they have was a Hispanic Heritage Month, which I think is in October. They don't come at them with that, probably because their month is not as pushed like that, like Black History Month is, because theirs is still fairly fresh. But you have this woman who wants to incorporate everybody into this one month. Why can't Black people have their own month? Let them have their own month. If other groups want to have their own month, they can go ahead and have it. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain that there are other months in the year that are catered to those groups. But the thing is, Black History Month is the one that reigns supreme. And the fact is, it's taught in schools. And the thing is, even when they teach it in schools, it's the same old rhetoric. Like, they never changed the curriculum when it comes to that. But the fact of the matter is, it's taught in schools. Like I said, Asians have their own month. I'm sure of it. Hispanics, they have their month. Native Americans, I believe, probably has theirs. Every other group has something designated to them throughout the year. Let them have theirs whenever they want to. Don't try to cram everybody into one month, and especially it's the shortest month. And then on top of that, that means you would have to rearrange everything around and then cram all of their stuff in there, and then we're probably left with crumbs. It's bad enough that they don't teach the history the right way, but now you want to throw everybody else's stuff in there. Heck, even now they put it in the curriculum where the Alphabet Academy has to be taught as a subject in school. They don't get a month, they get a whole year. A whole semester. Let Black people have this month. Granted, like I said, it's the shortest month. Granted, they teach recycled information, but hey, it belongs to them. Let them have it. Let us have it. And Naomi Campbell, if you don't like it, that's tough. You don't change no legislation, and thank God you don't. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, make sure to follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.